Canelo, you a bitch. I'm putting it out there.
You fight with nobody, man.
Overhand rights being landed by Canelo.
Oh, look at Beeble.
Horrible fighter, horrible fighter, horrible fighter, horrible fighter, horrible fighter, horrible fighter, horrible fighter.
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
He got beat by a boxer. Like a simple foundation.
Gotcha.
Got him! Got him!
And I'm getting mighty tired of your trifling ways and of listening to that jackass break.
First of all, Demetrius, how's the shoulder doing?
Tell him stop ducking that nigga, man.
Yeah, fact.
You know what I mean?
I already know, man.
How's the shoulder doing?
We're doing treatment, you know what I'm saying? And once treatment is done, we're gonna be looking to call out all the people. Plant, David, Chalo, of course. But I'm tired of calling like the old news people, man. It's time to call on the new characters. So Plant, David, and whoever that 68 that wants to like dance.
So what do I do, YouTube? It's your boy King David in this thing, and I'll back at y'all again with another video. So before I get going on the video, man, y'all know what to do. Go ahead, hit the like button. And if you're new here, be sure to subscribe one time for your boy so we can continue to grow like we need to grow on this channel. Alright, so with all that out the window, man, y'all see what the title of the video is. We talking about your boy, my boy, everybody's boy, Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade here. You know what I mean? And what we talking about really is more about nothing, right? You know what I mean? And let me explain. As many of you know, Demetrius Andrade recently had to pull out of his fight with Zach Parker due to a shoulder injury in training camp, right? And shit happens, man. I would have liked my guy to get in there with Zach Parker, beat up Zach Parker, and become Canelo's mandatory for the WBO belt. But, shit happens, and things don't always work out the way you plan it, My thing, though, is people is taking this particular situation as an opportunity to try to disparage my guy and talk shit about him looking for the biggest and best fights out there. You know what I mean? So I think it's just crazy, this whole situation when it comes to Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. At the end of the day, the dude has always been consistent in trying to fight the biggest and best competition out there. He's always been consistent in looking for the best fights, which should be honored in a fighter, which should be something that guys should look to support as boxing fans. But of course, when it comes to guys like Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade, for some reason, instead of them being celebrated for wanting to fight the biggest and best competition out there, for whatever reason, they're criticized for wanting to fight the biggest and best competition out there. One of the many contradictions that exist within the sport of boxing. You know what I mean? So what we gonna do here today, man, is, we just gonna highlight some of the hypocrisy that goes on within the sport of boxing when it comes to this guy, Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. Because there's a lot of hate out there for a guy who ain't doing nothing but trying to fight the biggest and best competition out there, and for the life of me, I can't understand it. But in addition to that, you got dudes that would rather see him in inferior or less lucrative fights than see him in the biggest and best fights that are out there. The man is 35 years old, 36, 34, 35 years old at this particular point in time, man. The dude is a two-weight, three-time world champion with over 30 fights right now at this particular point in his career. The dude has fought all kinds of different styles. You know what I mean? The dude is at a point in his career where he's more than deserves a big fight with a big name for big money. You know what I mean? So why isn't he offered or handed or given an opportunity to be able to prove himself as the best guy at his respective weight division? You know what I mean? It's literally to the point where Demetrius Andrade got to move up 2 and 3 weight divisions in order to get somebody of any note to be able to fight him. He couldn't get no fights at 154. He couldn't get no fights at 160. He's trying to move up to 168 pounds so he can get somebody of note in the ring with him. And I think that's just ridiculous that a guy has to resort to such extreme levels in order to get a fight. You know what I mean? It's crazy to me, you know? But even though Demetrius Andrade has always been in heavy pursuit of trying to get the biggest and best competition out there, you know, you got guys out there that want to see him. Like I said, they want to see him in inferior or less lucrative fights. All this talk about this Jannibek dude, this dude who brings nothing to the table, offers nothing, literally. And I'm not being Leonard Ellerby in this case. We're talking about a dude with less than 10 fights. We're talking about a dude who's never been a world champion. We're talking about a dude who gets no credit for beating in the first place. You know what I mean? That's what we're talking about when it comes to this Jannibek dude. And it never ceases to amaze me the fact that the same fans who say Demetrius Andrade ain't fought nobody are also the same people who want to criticize him for not fighting guys like Janibek. I mean, y'all niggas really gotta pick one. You can't in one breath say that Andrade fights with nobody, and then you call him for a fight. And then when he fights him, then you're gonna continue to say he fights with nobody. No, it don't work like this. Y'all gotta pick one. Do you want Andrade to fight this 10-0, never been before world champion? You know what I mean? Are you gonna give him credit for fighting this dude, or you're not gonna give him credit? Because if you're not gonna give him credit, then it doesn't make sense for the dude to put his career on hold, put his career to the side, and take time out of his career, in the twilight of his career, I might add, to go fight somebody like a Janibek, somebody that just got started 9 fights ago. Okay? You know, you niggas really paint yourself into a corner with this contradiction when it comes to this Janibek dude. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, again, man, I ain't got no problem watching a Demetrius Andrade versus Janibek fight. At the end of the day, I think it'll be a good fight. But if Demetrius Andrade don't fight Janibek, am I gonna cry a river? Am I gonna have a problem that Demetrius Andrade ain't fighting Janibek? No. Why? Because I know that Demetrius Andrade is in pursuit of bigger and better fights, like he said at the beginning of the video, the Caleb Plants, the David Benavidez's, the Jamal Charlos, and even the Canelo Alvarez's, if he bounced back from this loss, or if he makes it past Triple G in a fight that nobody cares about. You know what I mean? So y'all niggas really gotta pick one. You know what I mean? Y'all really gotta pick one. You know what I mean? But I mean, I'll never understand how you niggas can be so critical of a guy who's literally trying to fight everybody out there. You know what I mean? And for whatever reason, all these guys out there are doing any and everything in order to avoid a fight with him. You know what I mean? I mean, shouldn't that say what needs to be said about a fighter when guys don't want to fight him? For the longest time, guys didn't want to fight Devin Haney, right? And you see what happened when Devin Haney finally got the opportunity to get in the ring with these guys. He gets in there, he shuts them out, he dominates them. He completely and utterly dominates these guys. You don't think it'd be the similar situation with Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade? The skill set that he has, the reach he has, the power he has, it would be even worse if Demetrius Andrade was to get in the ring with some of these guys that a lot of you guys feel are the best in boxing. Point blank, period. But let's keep it going, though.
I know you're not fighting at 160 anymore, but Jannibek keeps.
I didn't say that. I ain't say that. I ain't say that yet. I ain't say that yet.
Well, the guy that
but
you were
Jannibek is like,
168.
Jannibek is not like, you know. Come on, man. You guys want me to fight who I just named, or you guys want me to like do that? You know what I'm saying? Let's just be real with them.
I mean, these are just big boy facts. These are just big boy facts. I mean, do you guys want him to take time out of his day to fight Janibek, or do you want him to fight David Benavidez? Do you want him to fight Caleb Plant? Do you want him to fight Jamal Charlo and Canelo Alvarez? The big fights. I mean, these are the fights that the people want to see. The people don't want to see Janibek. The people don't want to see Demetrius Andrade in another fight where people are gonna say he fight with nobody, right? I mean, you niggas really need to pick one. I mean, you can't have your cake and eat it too in this situation. Either you want Andrade to fight fights like Jannibek, guys with 10 fights, guys with 11 fights, guys with no championship level experience, or you want him to fight guys like David Benavidez and Caleb Plant and Jamal Charlo. But you can't do both in this game because Andrade's been trying to do both this entire motherfucking time. He's been trying to fight everybody, but you can't fight everybody when you got certain people out there who don't want to fight you. So all you can do is sit there and try to put yourself in a position where you're able to fight the most important fights, which does not include a Janibek. You know what I mean? I don't get what's so hard for you niggas to understand in regards to this situation, bro. We don't want to see Demetrius Andrade waste another year of his life fighting somebody who he ain't gonna get credit for beating in the first goddamn place. And I know what a lot of you niggas gonna say. A lot of niggas gonna run your mouth. You're gonna say, oh, well, I'll give him credit. I'll give him credit. All three of you niggas, right? Because it ain't a lot of you that's gonna know who Janibek is and who's even gonna make a statement like, I'll give Andrade credit. All three of you niggas who say that you're gonna give Andrade credit for beating somebody like a Janibek, is it gonna be the kind of credit that Demetrius Andrade deserves for beating somebody who you've been calling for him to fight? Is it the kind of credit that's going to put Andrade on the pound for pound list? Is it the kind of credit that's going to make Andrade a superstar in the sport of boxing? I think not. But let's keep it moving.
Make these fights happen, that's all.
So in your mind, you don't really think he's worth fighting at 160 right now, pretty much, Jannibek?
Nah, I'm just, yeah, of course not. I've been in this game for mad long not to get these fights that we need to be putting on for the fans. At the end of the day, I do it because, you know, that's the line I'm in. But if I can go elsewhere to make better, you know, opposition with a name and we moving on in life, then it's all good. But I don't know about all that. But, yo, we coming to support boxing and shit, man.
There you have it, y'all. The man say he'll fight Janibek, and ain't no problem. Ain't no issue getting in the ring with Janibek, but again, is it really worth Andrade taking another 6 months out of his career at the age of 33, 34 years old in order to get in the ring with Janibek, a guy that y'all not gonna give him credit for in the first place? You know what I mean? My guy said he'd get in the ring with Janibek if that's the only opportunity that's left out on the table, but you should be okay with him looking for the biggest and best opportunities out there and Janibek being a backup plan. You know what I mean? I personally think Andrade should go back up and try to look for Zach Parker again and see if he can make that deal with the WBO and become Canelo's mandatory like he was about to do in this previous fight over here in May, because at the end of the day, it doesn't make no sense for him to go in the ring with a Janibek. It doesn't bring him any closer to a big fight, okay? And I honestly think that's the biggest thing to emphasize on, right? I think that's the biggest thing to emphasize on, the fact that it brings him no closer to a big fight. You know what I mean? No closer. So, aside from Janibek not bringing any fan base or any real money to the table, aside from Janibek not bringing a belt or any accolades to the table, aside from Janibek not bringing any real credibility or notoriety from the boxing fans or community to the table, aside from any of those things, a Janibek fight doesn't even bring Andrade any closer to a big fight. Do y'all get that? A Janibek fight doesn't even set Andrade up for a Triple G fight, or a Jamal Charlo fight, or a Canelo Alvarez fight, or a David Benavidez fight. It does nothing to contribute to him getting those fights. That's a huge deal, y'all. Because at least if he fights Zach Parker, at least a Zach Parker fight puts him in a position where he can challenge Canelo Alvarez for the WBO belt. At least that fight does something for him in that regard. I mean, and Zach Parker has somewhat of a fan base. You know, UK, they always support their own, you know. So there's always that too. But that isn't the main thing. At least a Zach Parker fight brings him somewhat closer to a fight with a Canelo Alvarez. But this Janibek fight brings him no closer to a Canelo Alvarez fight. This Janibek fight doesn't give him any notoriety or any credibility or any money or any accolades. This Janibek fight brings absolutely nothing to the table when it comes to a Demetrius Andrade. And just like he mentioned earlier, the dude's been in the game for a while now. The dude is again, 3-time two-weight world champion, but yet and still people are pressuring him into a fight with a guy who has less than, what, 11 fights? What is it, 11 fights, 12 fights? I'm not sure which one it is. But Demetrius Andrade has over 30 fights right now, and we're talking about the fact that he's ducking a guy with 10 fights and brings absolutely nothing to the table when it comes to Demetrius Andrade in the twilight of his career. I mean, I'm gonna need y'all to really miss me with this bullshit. You know what I mean? But let's keep it going.
Canelo, what was your reaction to the Canelo Bivol? I mean, he called me a horrible fighter, but he just got beat by like a basic foundation.
I mean, nothing but big boy facts on behalf of Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade, because at the end of the day, Canelo sat up on that little podium and he called Boo Boo Andrade a horrible fighter, but he lost to a guy who, I mean, maybe a B-level fighter? You could call Demetrius Bivol? He's a guy that all he really did was use his jab and use a little bit of foot movement, something that Andrade would be able to do to him. The things that Demetrius Bivol did to Canelo Alvarez, Andrade would do that times 20. The level of footwork that Demetrius Bivol has compared to the level of footwork Demetrius Andrade has is, if Demetrius Bivol's a 5, Andrade would be a 10. Double what a Demetrius Bivol would be footwork wise. If Demetrius Bivol has a good jab, then Demetrius Andrade has an excellent jab. If Demetrius Bivol had good head movement, then Demetrius Andrade has excellent head movement. All the skills that Demetrius Bivol used in order to beat Canelo Alvarez, Demetrius Andrade will be able to do times 20. Again and again and again and again. You know? And another thing that this goes to show you is all this horrible fighter stuff, right? All this horrible fighter stuff. But if Demetrius Andrade is a horrible fighter, what does that make somebody like a Demetrius Bivol? All the things that I named that Demetrius Bivol did to Canelo Alvarez, Demetrius Andrade does better than Demetrius Bivol. So if Demetrius Andrade is a horrible fighter, what would that make Demetrius Bivol? A terrible fighter? Huh? You know what I mean? According to Canelo Alvarez and the Canelo Alvarez fanboys that hang on his every word and take everything that he says for fact at the end of the day. So I mean, nothing but facts by my guy Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. At the end of the day, man, it's like this. If he's such a horrible fighter, then it should be nothing for him to get in the ring with a Demetrius Andrade. But you know, we haven't seen that yet, and we're probably never gonna see that. But you guys are gonna still justify that bullshit. You know what I mean? Nevertheless, I digress. But let's keep it moving.
But outside of Canelo, you know, David Benavidez is a guy that keeps on mentioning you, and that's kind of rare because guys never really mention your name, man.
Yeah, because we're kind of in the same position, me and David. You know what I'm saying? We understand like the situation that we're in. So it's like I want to, you know, dance with the best, and he wants to dance with the best. He's having trouble. You know, if I could come along and make things happen where we could put a great fight together sooner than later. You know, because, you know, I don't got the fountain of youth, but, you know, I'm a good-looking, tall, black, handsome, it's me again. But at the end of the day, you feel me? Like, it's time to, like, you know, make them things happen.
Is the plan to fight Jack Parker still?
Nah, I mean, I think the WBO, like, canceled that movement, so right now I can do whatever it is, but it's cool if the opportunity's still there, but if I could get, you know, a bigger name, bigger star, why not? You feel me?
Does it make sense, because if this will be your first fight at 168, does it make sense for you to jump into the deep end with a guy like David Benavidez? Do you not care, or do you want to fight?
Yeah, nah, the time is now for me.
Gotcha.
And that is the definition of a real fighter and how real fighters are supposed to talk when asked about real fights. And real fights are David Benavidez's. Real fights are Caleb Plant's. Real fights are Jermell Charlo, not Janibek. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, man, who's trying to fight David Benavidez right now at 168 pounds? Not Canelo. Who's trying to fight David Benavidez right now at 168 pounds? Not Jermell Charlo. Who's trying to fight David Benavidez at 168 pounds? Not Caleb Plant. None of these dudes are trying to fight David Benavidez at 168 pounds but Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. That's a fighter that has something to prove. That's a fighter that has faith in his ability, his skill to be able to beat the best guys in and or around his weight division. You know what I mean? So all the hate that Demetrius Andrade gets right now at this particular point in time, you know, I just can't understand, and I never will understand it. And if you call yourself a real boxing fan, I don't know how you can sit behind that rhetoric, that bullshit that be coming out of your mouth when it comes to this young man. You know what I mean? How can you hate on a dude that's trying to fight the biggest and best competition out there? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. You rather see him in inferior fights than see him in a fight with a David Benavidez or a Caleb Plant or Jamal Charlo? Why are you not calling for these other fighters to get in the ring with Demetrius Andrade? Why are you calling for Demetrius Andrade to fight guys like Jannibek? How many Janibeks does Demetrius Andrade have to fight? People like to brag about Jannibek, how he has this Olympic gold record or Olympic pedigree, but Andrade has been in the ring with several guys who have Olympic pedigree. You don't know about them just like you don't know about Jannibek. You know what I mean? So, you know, man, I just need all y'all to stop all this cap. Keep all the same energy. Call for the biggest and best fights in boxing, which is what you should be doing as a boxing fan. And cut all the bullshit out, man. You know what I mean? But I'm going to go ahead, man. I'm going to wrap the video up right here, man. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. And everybody, and I do mean everybody, be sure to hit that goddamn like button. But until next time, I'm going to holler at y'all. Peace.
Man, sit your ass down.